Welcome to MAGA March Madness, a tournament to crown Trump's worst cabinet member ever. With this much corruption, chaos, and cover-ups, the bracket is stacked. So I'm doing a deep dive into all their scandals to award Trump's least valuable player and predict who's on the chopping block next. First up, the Epstein division. Former Attorney General Pam Bondi versus Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. Pam Bondi called Representative Jamie Raskin a washed-up loser lawyer. Really? All Pam Bondi has done is lose. She prosecuted James Comey. She lost. She prosecuted Tish James. She lost. She tried to charge 6 Democratic lawmakers. She lost every single member of the grand jury. It's gotta be a record. She lost credibility with judges when her DOJ lied in court. She lost credibility with prosecutors when she dropped the Eric Adams case and refused to investigate the agents who killed Renee Good and Alex Preddy. She lost credibility with Epstein survivors when she refused to even acknowledge them. She lost credibility with the American people when she promised transparency for the Epstein files while hiding documents about Donald Trump. When she said the Epstein client list was sitting on her desk, then she said it didn't exist. When she responded to a question about Epstein's accomplices by saying, "The Dow is over 50,000 right now. That's what we should be talking about." Pam Bondi didn't just lose cases. She lost the public trust when she chose to serve Donald Trump instead of the American people. And because Trump is loyal to no one, now she has lost her job. So if Pam Bondi wants to see what a washed-up loser lawyer looks like, she should look in the mirror. Howard Lutnick's in the Epstein files, and then he got caught lying about it. Lutnick said in 2005 Epstein showed him and his wife a massage table in the middle of a room in his house with candles around it. Lutnick asked Epstein how often he got massages. Epstein got weirdly close and said, "Every day, and the right kind of massage." Lutnick claimed, "Well, I was never in the room with him socially, for business, or even philanthropy after that." But that's not true. The Epstein files show they got drinks together in 2011. Lutnick, his family, and their nanny visited Epstein Island in 2012. Epstein even asked to meet Lutnick's nanny, and Epstein's lawyer had her resume. The files show that Lutnick solicited Epstein for a Hillary Clinton presidential campaign donation in 2015. In 2017, Epstein donated $50,000 to a charity event honoring Lutnick, where Epstein was invited as a close friend of the Lutnicks. They discussed business dealings and real estate in 2018. Lutnick called Epstein the greatest blackmailer ever. He speculated that Epstein traded damaging videos in exchange for his 2008 sweetheart plea deal. But if Lutnick actually thought that, then why did he keep socializing with Epstein? Why did he discuss business with him? Why did he invite him to his charity event? I suspect because, like the rest of the Epstein class, he just didn't care. Just like Trump doesn't care that Lutnick is in the Epstein files, because so is Trump. But Trump did care that Bondi's botched handling of the Epstein files became a political liability for him. Bondi versus Lutnick, Bondi advances to the final four. Next up, the sex scandal division. Former Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem versus Secretary of Labor Lori Chavez-DeRemer. Kristi Noem's out as Homeland Security Secretary, a job she used to travel the world with her special advisor, Corey Lewandowski. Under oath, when she was asked if they had a sexual relationship, she didn't deny it, not even with her husband at the hearing. And even after being fired, she still brought Lewandowski on another trip abroad with her. That's beyond shameless. That's humiliating her husband. Why would he stay with her? Maybe because he was having his own fun without her. We all know Kristi Noem enjoyed cosplay. Turns out she wasn't the only one. Kristi Noem says she was blindsided by her husband's photos. Really? Her department was conducting mass surveillance on US citizens, but she had no idea her own husband had these online photos? Photos that could have exposed her to blackmail? But the most surreal part is who exposed the photos. Axios said it was an immigrant who may be in the country illegally. Why? Vengeance for Homeland Security's immigration enforcement. I haven't seen vengeance that iconic since Gladiator. And to complete Kristi Noem's humiliation, Trump invented a job for her that's as fake as her marriage. Special envoy to the Shield of the Americas. Lori Chavez-DeRemer has been accused of having an inappropriate sexual relationship with a subordinate, taking staff to strip clubs, drinking on the job, and making up taxpayer-funded official trips for personal time with family and friends. This is the person running an office responsible for protecting American workers. This scandal gets worse. Chavez-DeRemer's husband has been accused by at least 2 female Department of Labor employees of sexual assault. One incident during work hours was caught on a security camera in the Labor Department building. He's now barred from the building and under criminal investigation. The good news, these misconduct allegations are being investigated. The bad news, the watchdog investigating is former Congressman Anthony D'Esposito. When he was in Congress, D'Esposito was accused of hiring his fiance's daughter and his mistress to his district office. That's who's in charge of policing ethics here. So far, 1 staffer was fired. 3 more have resigned. But somehow Chavez-DeRemer still has her job. Look for Trump to fire her next. No way Trump stands by a woman that has a sex scandal. Just ask Kristi Noem. Noem versus Chavez-DeRemer, Noem advances to the Final 4. Next up, the fighter division. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent versus War Secretary Pete Hegseth. Scott Bessent got into a physical fight with Elon Musk in the White House about the IRS. Bessent said, "I think Elon probably fancies himself more of a Viking. I think I'm more a ninja. Geriatric boxing matches in the West Wing? Dude, you're not a ninja, you're blue from old school." That's not all. Bessent was so enraged over rumors that housing official Bill Pulte badmouthed him to Trump that Bessent threatened, "I'm gonna punch you in your fucking face." Gets better. Bessent said, "We could go outside." "To do what?" asked Pulte. "To talk?" "No," Bessent said, "I'm going to fucking beat your ass." This is the guy who's considered a moderating influence in the Trump administration. Pete Hegseth wants to strengthen military AI's maximum lethality. Basically, he wants to make the Terminator real. A normal person prays that God blesses our troops. Pete Hegseth prays for overwhelming violence. He gutted a program to protect civilians. Over 1,500 civilians in Iran have been killed, including over 200 children. At least 15 U.S. service members have died. No mission, no plan, just tough guy BS. But for all his war-fighting bravado, Pete Hegseth acts like a TikTok tween. He installed a makeup studio at the Pentagon for his TV appearances. He banned photographers for taking unflattering photos of him. He spilled sensitive war plans over a group chat. Pete Hegseth isn't a warrior, he is a coward. He's afraid to answer tough questions, afraid to look weak, afraid of being exposed as just another Fox News hack. Bessent versus Hegseth? Hegseth easily advances to the Final 4. The Odd Duck Division. Interior Secretary Doug Burgum versus Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Doug Burgum enjoys warm, freshly baked chocolate chip cookies. It's normal, right? Well, not when political appointees have to bake them regularly and just the way he likes it. If they mess them up, they have to make a new batch. His staff is also serving him multi-course meals. Since when did the Department of the Interior's job duties include baking and serving? And Burgum is a billionaire. He can afford to hire a chef and waiters. The Atlantic, which broke this story, also reported that Burgum used a park police helicopter for personal travel. In any other administration, that would be a story, but Burgum's basically a Boy Scout compared to others in Trump world, like RFK Jr. RFK Jr. says, "Make America healthy again," but his routine consists of tanning beds, nicotine, and testosterone. That qualifies him to join a Jersey Shore reboot, not the health department. Doctors should be examining him. He cut off a road-killed raccoon's penis to examine it later. while his kids waited in the car. He dumped a dead bear cub in Central Park with a bike because he thought it would be funny. He chainsawed a whale's head and strapped it to his minivan roof on a family road trip. His daughter said whale juice poured into the car windows. They had plastic bags over their heads with mouth holes cut out. She said it was just normal day-to-day stuff. That isn't normal. That is unhinged. Vaccines are safe. Tylenol is safe. This man is taking crazy pills. Or maybe it's the brainworm. I don't know. Either way, this man running our country's health policy is sick in the head. Burgum versus Kennedy, RFK Jr. advances. Now for the final four. First up, Bondi versus Noem. Tale of two photos. Two women who never met a camera they didn't like. And in the end, photos will define their legacies. This is Pam Bondi's legacy. She refused to look at Epstein's victims, women who suffered at the hands of the most infamous pedophile in American history. They wanted to be seen and heard, but Bondi refused to even look at them. That moment perfectly captures how she failed the Epstein survivors. Not only didn't she fight for them, she didn't treat them with the basic dignity and respect they deserved. This is Kristi Noem's legacy. A prison in El Salvador, men crammed together. ICE's own records show that nearly half of the 252 men the U.S. sent there had no criminal record, and only 8 were convicted of violent crimes. 60 Minutes said they were beaten, sexually abused, bleeding, vomiting, denied clean water, medicine, and sunlight, cut off from the outside world. They endured constant torture. What did Kristi Noem do? She didn't speak to these prisoners. She posed in front of them for a photo. Bondi looked away from human suffering. Noem exploited human suffering for a photo op. Noem advances to the finals for Trump's worst cabinet member ever. RFK Jr. versus Hegseth. RFK Jr. was accused of groping a family babysitter several times in the late 90s. His response? He texted her that he doesn't remember, but apologizes if he made her uncomfortable. So not an apology for what he did, just how he may have made her feel. Pete Hegseth was accused of taking a woman's phone, blocking the hotel room door, and sexually assaulting her in 2017. She said she repeatedly said no. He said it was consensual. He wasn't criminally charged, but he did pay her $50,000 for her silence. In 2018, his own mother called him an abuser of women. That is the ugly truth, and I have no respect for any man that belittles, lies, cheats, sleeps around, and uses women for his own power and ego. Woof! Fast forward to today. Hegseth is working to block or delay promotions for more than a dozen Black and female senior military officers. I guess this is a case of mother knows best. Trump has supported both men despite these sexual assault allegations. But if Trump's unpopular war with Iran continues and Trump can't convince the American people he won, Trump will look for someone to blame. Hegseth would be the perfect scapegoat. RFK Jr. versus Hegseth? Close call, but Hegseth advances to the finals for worst cabinet member ever. All right, the March Madness finals, Noem versus Hegseth. In my view, Noem is the worst of the worst because she is heartless. She defended ripping children from their beds in the dead of night to be deported. She not only justified agents killing Renee Nicole Good and Alex Pretty, she then smeared them as domestic terrorists. This is the cruelty you'd expect from someone who justified killing her own puppy. She turned the American dream into a nightmare for so many families. She transformed American cities into war zones. She was entrusted with Homeland Security, but she delivered fear, violence, and injustice. For her lack of humanity, Kristi Noem is Trump's worst cabinet member ever. Thanks for watching Courtside with Kristy Greenberg. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, comment, share it, and subscribe to my channel. I look forward to joining you next time courtside.